Valmiki Ramayana, Bala Kanda, Book 1, Sarga 61, Roman numerals LXI 61, Shuna Shepa. Then Vishwamitra, when the blessed had sought their homes of heavenly rest, thus mighty prince his counsel laid before the dwellers of the shade. The southern land where now we are offers this check our rights to bar. To other regions let us speed and ply our tasks from trouble freed. Now turn we to the distant west, to Pushkar's wood where hermits rest, and there to rites austere apply, for not a grove with that can vie. The saint, in glorious light arrayed, in Pushkar's wood his dwelling made, and living there on roots and fruit, did penance stern and resolute. The king who filled Ayodhya's throne, by Ambarisha's name far known, at that same time it chanced began a sacrificial rite to plan. But Indra took by force away the charger that the king would slay. The victim lost, the Brahman sped to Ambarisha's side and said, "Gone is the steed, O king, and this is due to thee in care remiss." Such heedless faults will kings destroy, who fail to guard what they enjoy. The flaw is desperate, we need the charger or a man to bleed. Quick, bring a man, if not the horse, that so the right may have its course. The glory of Ikshwaku's line made offer of 1,000 kind, and sought to buy at lordly price a victim for the sacrifice. Too many a distant land he drove, too many a people, town, and grove, and holy shades where hermits rest, pursuing still his eager quest. At length on Brigu's sacred height, the saint Richika met his sight. Sitting beneath the holy boughs, his children near him and his spouse. The mighty Lord drew near, assayed to win his grace, and reverence paid. And then the sainted king addressed the Brahman saint with this request: but with 100,000 kine. Give me, O sage, a son of thine, to be a victim in the right, and thanks the favor shall requite. For I have roamed all countries round, nor sacrificial victim found. Then gentle hermit deigned to spare one child amid the number there. Then to the monarch speech replied, the hermit penance glorified. For countless kine, for hills of gold, mine eldest son shall ne'er be sold. But when she heard the saint's reply, the children's mother, standing nigh, words such as these in answer said to Ambarisha, monarch dread. My lord the saint has spoken well. His eldest child he will not sell. And know, great monarch, that above the rest my youngest born I love. This ever thus, the father's joy is centered in his eldest boy. The mother loves her darling best, whom last she wreaked upon her breast. My youngest I will ne'er forsake, as thus the sire and mother spake. Young Shunashepa of the three, the midmost, cried unurged and free, my sire withholds his eldest son, my mother keeps her youngest one. Then take me with thee, king, I ween. The son is sold who comes between. The king with joy his home resought, and took the prize his kine had bought. He bade the youth his car ascend, and hastened back the rites to end. Wow. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Valmiki Ramayana. Amazing translation from Sanskrit to British by Ralph Griffith, 1800s. It is just, I would say, literal architecture. Footnotes. 72.1b. This cannot refer to the events just related. How do you know that? For Vishwamitra was successful in the sacrifice performed for Trishanku, and yet no other impediment is mentioned. Still, his restless mind would not allow him to remain longer in the same spot. So the character of Vishwamitra is ingeniously and skillfully shadowed forth. As he had been formerly a most warlike king, loving battle and glory, bold, active, sometimes unjust, and more frequently magnanimous, such also he always shows himself in his character of anchorite and ascetic. End quote. Schlegel. (72) to B. Near the modern city of Ajmer, the place is sacred still and the name is preserved in the Hindi. Larsen, however, says that this Pushkala or Pushkara, called by the Grecian writers the earliest place of pilgrimage mentioned by name, is not to be confounded with the modern Pushkara in Ajmer. Okay. 73:1. Ambarisha is the 29th in descent from Ikshvaku and is therefore separated by an immense space of time from Trishanku, in whose story Vishwamitra had played so important a part. Yet Richika, who is represented as having young sons while Ambarisha was yet reigning, being himself the son of Brigu and to be numbered with the most ancient sages, is said to have married the younger sister of Vishwamitra. But I need not again remark that there is a perpetual anachronism in Indian mythology. End quote. Schlegel. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Listen, Schlegel, Mr. Schlegel. The problem with you Freemasons, you don't understand the concepts of yugas. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. These are yugas. Special time and space dimensions. Yugas are not only time frames. They are time and space dimensions. Okay? And people back then were much more taller and much more long-lived. Okay? They lived for 100,000 years back in Satya Yuga. And all they were doing back then, people were meditating. There was no need for anything else but meditation. And they lived for 100,000 years. Okay, they were about 48 feet tall. And in Treta Yuga, they lived for 10,000 years. They're about half less, about 24 feet tall. In Dvapara Yuga for 1,000 years, and they were about 12 feet tall. And in Kali Yuga, people live for barely 100 years, and they're about 6 feet tall. Okay? Because you have no understanding of the yugas and of higher dimensions and of virtues people practice in higher dimensions and able to more experience the universe and all the different multi-dimensions in the universe. That's why you cannot wrap your head around how can somebody from 29th generation still be alive, from Ikshvaku, the son of Vivasvan, the sun god. Because both Ikshvaku and Vivasvan are still alive. They are living. Because their duration of life and their size is like, to us, incomprehensible, because we are like ants in comparison to those people, to those demigods, to those great sages who practice virtue. Okay? That's the problem with you Freemasons. You cannot wrap your head around Ramayana because you think it's all mythology. You stupid idiots. The mythical story, here we go again, anything you cannot explain, you call it mythical. In the stories I cannot comprehend my head related in this and following canto, we may discover, I think, that's what you think, some indications of the epoch at which the immolation of lower animals was substituted for human sacrifices. You see, back then, so many things were going on. Okay, so many things were going on, and people would sacrifice, would willingly sacrifice themselves. Not all people, some people. And they all had a higher understanding of what's going on. Just like nowadays, people are willingly, sent to wars. They want to sacrifice their lives in the altar of some Moloch, some Baal, some demoniac god that people, for example, let's say, all these wars in the Middle East is basically sacrificing young men and women who sign up for to get sacrificed. So there is nothing to wonder about these human sacrifices. They're still going on in the form of wars, in the form of abortions, and so on. So many things people sacrificing themselves willingly. So when Iphigenia, most likely some stupid British pronunciation of the Greek, was about to be sacrificed at Eulis, most likely another stupid pronunciation, British pronunciation of the Greek. One legend tells us that a hind was substituted for the virgin, Goresio. So the ram caught in the thicket took the place of Isaac, or as the Muslims say, of Ishmael. Okay? Again, because the Jews are special children of God, we have to sacrifice Goyim for their wars in the Middle East, in the Holy Land. Sacrifices are still going on. They're just replaced by the Goyim. Instead of Jews sacrificing their own children, the Goyim are sent to be sacrificed in the Holy Land. Okay, so many things to talk about. Ciao.